So we continue on page 59. Today we're going to cover, we're going to finish the subject of the stars, the names. Then we're going to speak about people who are, to say the least, the charlatans that using these informations of misleading people. And then someone who sees a thunder, a wind, again, Bרכות הראייה. And then the second part, we're going to speak about someone who see the great sea, the definition of the rain, chidekel, and then the bracha of hatov amitiv, the special bracha for good and goodness. So the Gemarah said, we just continue what we said in yesterday's shiur in a daf, at the ketarpa de taref, which means the same way as we see some of the stars. It's looks like part of the stars is missing, and it's not clear. It's look like appear a certain way. V'hai the azla batra, and the fact that Ushra is the name of that star. Follow the other one. Pilades, the reason is the Amarla Havli Benai, that it's like Ushra is saying, give me back my children. So Rashi said, Ai Shachar Kima, the Amra li Avli Bni Shnei Kochavim Sheli. He wanted to have, in a way, his children, quote unquote, which is the star, back. Why? שעה שהקדוש ברוך הוא ביקש להביא מבול לעולם, נטל שני כוכבים מקימה. Again, we said that we explain it in our very best, that when the Almighty planning to have the great flood, the time of the Mabul, the tumultuous world, so he basically sought to bring a flood in a certain way. He took two stars from the Pleiades, and he brought the flood upon the world. And then afterward, כשביקש לעשות מה, and after the flood is over, the great Mabul was over, נטל שני כוכבים מאיש וסתמה. So God in our language, needs to fill the void. So he took two stars from the Ushra major, Usha, and he filled it with the void with them. So the constellation of Ursa major attempts to pursue the other one, seeking the Aish to have these two stars back. It's like we receive. So they said Veli Hadarla. So in to return it. Why Hashem not restore the original two stars? So he said, En habor mitmale michu lo yato. A pit cannot fill with its own earth, which means when you take out something from the pit, so it's not the same when you put it back. It's missing something. Iname, another interpretation, En hakategor naase sanegor. The persecuted cannot become a defender, which means cannot turn around. So if that's the case, then God should have created two other new stars altogether. So they said, King Solomon said in the book of Ecclesiastic, En kol chadash tachad hashemesh. There is nothing new under the sun. Amar Rav Nachman, Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu lehachziran la, שנאמר ואיש על בניה תנחם. They said in the book of Job, chapter 38, that in the future God is going to restore the same stars of Ursa Major as it stated. And they said, and they lead Aish, the Ash, together with her children return, which means that he, quote unquote, received back the two that was taken from him. Now we're back to the Sugya and the Gemarah. What we said in the blessing, we said, Ve'al hazvaot. We learn in the Mishnah that over the Zvaot, one recite the blessing שכוחו וגבורתו מלא עולם, whose strength and power fill the world. So the Gemarah asks, my Zvaot, what exactly the definition of Zvaot? Amar Rav Ketina Goha. Rav Ketina said that Zvaot, when we said שכוחו וגבורתו מלא עולם, Zvaot apply to earthquake. Rav Ketina Hava ka'azil be'orcha kimata apitcha de ve'ova tamya. So he walked and he saw a house of those, one of those psychic or all kind of, you can call it Baalov, is all kind of name, but in short, someone who's basically take a bone from a dead body and he communicate to the bone, and he's like, he makes some type of kishuf, like black magic or whatever you call it, science with a dead body, with using a certain bone to communicate with. Ganach Goa. Suddenly, it was a huge earthquake. Amar, so Rav Ketina said, Mi yada ova tamya hai goa mau. So this guy, the one who communicated with all those entities, that he knows what's this earthquake come to be, what's the reason? Rama lekala. So this charlatan, he shouted out and he said, Ktina, Ktina, amai lo yadana, Ktina, Ktina, why do you think why do not know? Certainly this earthquake occurred because of what? He said, בשעה שהקדוש ברוך הוא זוכר את בניו ששורים בצער בין האומות העולם, מוריד שתי דמעות לים הגדול, וקולו נשמע מסופו עד סופו, והיינו גואה. So he answered and he said, the earthquake occurred because the Holy One, blessed be He, remember His children who are suffering among the nation of the world. So in our language, God Kivyachol sheds 2 tears into the great sea. The sound of the reverberation is heard from one end of the earth to another, and that is the earthquake. Amar Rav Ketina, so Rav Ketina responded and he said, Ova Tamya Kadivu Umilei Kadivin. He said, he is just a liar, this guy, and his word is altogether a lie. And he said, why? And he explained, if so, Goha mi ba'ele. Goa mi ba'ele. Should be because a 2 earthquake, another quake. And he said, Velohi, Goa avid, Vehad lo dele kidelo lite kule alma batre. So he said that indeed it was an earthquake that followed by another earthquake. And the fact that Rav Ketina did not admit that this guy, this charlatan was correct, was so that everyone will not mistakenly follow him. So what we understand? We understand several things. In Israel we used to call it Baba Kama. It's one of the tractate in the Talmud. It's called Baba. It's Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Bata. And it's a very famous in Israel. There are many charlatans, they call themselves Baba. It's like slang word to say that those quote-unquote Kabbalistic rabbis. I'm not mocking anybody. Everyone should have the respect, and everyone should. But the reality, there are many of them, I don't want to say all, but many of them are big charlatans. Use people crisis to ask for money, directly or indirectly, to use it for other bad purposes, but it's not really people that have the divine prophecy to tell people clairvoyantly what's going to happen in the future. So the reality is Baba, they call those quote-unquote Kabbalistic Baba, and all kind of names. So they said Baba Kama instead of Kuf in Kaf, which means how much you're willing to pay, like Barhedia, to get some information about the future. I can't tell you how many people in our world use the misfortunate of people to gain some cash out of that. And it's a very serious issue. So here you see the story of Rav Ketina, that he go further saying that you are allowing even to exaggerate the truth. In a sense, it was 2 earthquakes, but he make him as a liar, and he said it's 1, just to make sure that people should stay away from these people. Yes, there are Torah scholars that were really Kabbalistic, etc., and they have this amount of knowledge, and etc., etc. That's rare. You know, in the past generation, I remember the Baba Sali used to go to him when I was in service. So that was a real righteous man, that all his life was only Torah, and he usually just gave people blessing, but he was also a giant Kabbalistic, so he in our language was able to see things in a broader understanding. But the Torah way, the Torah of understanding, the beauty of the Torah is what we said just a couple of days ago on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. In the famous song V'chol Ma'aminim, we said V'chol Ma'aminim, what is it? Hu tamim pa'olo, hatamu mita'amam im tmimim. That God wants us to be wholehearted. Tamim ti'ei Hashem Elokecha, not to search for all these type of things. It's against the Torah way. One time, it was Rav Shach, the great Rosh Yeshiva of Ponevich. So it was those days that it was a big machloket, a big disputation between the two giants, the world of Hasidim, the world of the Litaim. So it was one fellow that was one of the people who campaigned against Rav Shach, and he has a lot of problems, so he went to one of those charlatans. And that guy said that you have all these personal troubles, give me your mezuzahs and I told you mezuzahs and tell you what's going on. So he brought him mezuzahs, and he told him that, you know, because you talk against Rav Shach, etc., that's what happened to you. So he went to the Rosh Yeshiva and he asked for forgiveness. So Rav Shach said to him, it's so important what you're about to hear. Rav Shach said to him, look, as far as the mechila, as far as forgiveness, I forgive you. But why in the world a Torah person like you needs to go to those people? If you want to ask forgiveness, if you feel something wrong, you want to do teshuvah, it's good. Why you need it? Because if you ask yourself, we focus in the past couple of pages over dreams and dreams interpretations and all kind of ideas in the dreams. And what's the bottom line? You ask yourself, so why we study all of that? This one have that dream and that one has that dream and these people. The bottom line is that Hashem wants people to do teshuvah. And if someone take the dream and he's wake up his heart to serve Hashem properly, to do teshuvah, to regret over all the things that he did wrong. So if he has a bad dream, it's good for him, the Gemarah said. If he see bad things, he's waking him up to serve Hashem properly. If a person make a self-search, he find out that he's a lot of thinking and improve himself and improve his life without any charlatan, without anyone only Einon Milvado, only to talk to Hashem by yourself. And all these people that try to talk to the dead body, to the bone, and to use all kind of different formula, everything is against das Torah. Everything is not the way of Torah. In the way of Torah, we should not involve in any form. We should believe strongly that Ein Od Milvado, that is nothing else but only Hashem. And therefore, when a person have any type of problem in life, he should talk to Hashem, like the great Rav Nachman of Breslov tells us, that the person should make it business to go out to the field and talk in his own language, in his own way to Hashem, and express himself and pour his heart out to all of his problems, and Hashem listen and accept. But the moment that the person starts involved with all kind of ideas and start wasting his money over this nonsense, it's all from the other side. So the Gemarah here tells us about Rav Ktina. He wants to teach us a lesson, that you even allowed to exaggerate the suit that said it's one earthquake, it's not two earthquakes, just to have people staying away from this type of person, this type of character. It's not the way of Torah, and should make it clear. So then the Gemarah said, so that the whole world should not make the mistake to follow these charlatans. So the Gemarah asks, ורב קטינא דידי אמר, סופק כפיו שנאמר, וגם אני אכה כפי על כפי, והניחותי חמתי. So he said that is a posuk that says, I too will pound my hand upon my hand, and I will put my wrath to rest, and the earth shake from the resulting sound. So what you see here? You see here that Rav Kina himself he have his own explanation for the earthquake. Why? Because he said that it's like God clap his hand together in anger, and it's like in our language he said what the book of Ezekiel said in 21. I will smite my hand together and I will satisfy my fury, as Hashem spoke in it. So ורבי נתן אומר, הנחה מתענח שנאמר, והניחותי חמתי בם, והנחמתי. So Rav Natan said the earthquake is caused because God signed over their straits in which Israel find itself, as it said, thus shall my anger spend itself, and I will satisfy my fury upon them, and it will be eased. That's from Ezekiel chapter 5. ורבנן אמרי בועט ברקיע שנאמר דעד כדורכים יענה אל כל יושבי הארץ. And the sages said an earthquake is caused when God, in our language, kick the firmament, right? Kick the heaven, causing a rumbling, because Jeremiah said in chapter 25, the Lord roars from the high, from the holy, for his holy dwelling, he makes his voice heard. His roar mighty over his dwelling place, he cried out like those who treat grass against all the inhabitants of the earth. רבח בר יעקב אמר, דוחק את רגליו תחת כיסא הכבוד, שנאמר, כה אמר השם השמיים כיסי וארץ אדום רגליו. Rabbi Bar Yaakov brought a source from the book of Isaiah. He says that the earthquake is caused when Hashem forces his feet, in our language, beneath the throne of glory, and the world aches. As it states, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. So again, how do you wrap up all of that? So the whole idea, Rav Nissim Gaon tells us that it's essential that there's no room for comparison between God and human being. For sure, God not laugh, God not cry, God not sigh, no shed tears. The whole this Agadic text shouldn't take literally. The explanation of Rav Ketina and other sages should be understood as a statement that point the unique connection that exists between Hashem and us. Because is the significance of the Jewish people in God's eyes, the different natural phenomena should be viewed as sign to inform us that God is anxious and concerned about the fate in exile. It's like our language to express kivyochol, God's feeling. Ve'al haramim, and the Mishnah continued and said, in the thunder. So you hear a thunder. The Mishnah Berurah said in 227, the Mishnah Berurah said that immediately, toch kedei dibur, right away, you should say right away, shekocho gvurato malei olam. So my Rami, what is the thunder? What's the cause of the thunder? אומר שמואל, עננה בגלל שנאמר, כל רמך בגלל הגיעו ברקים, תבל רגזה ותרגש הארץ. So they said that in the book of Psalms, they said the voice of your thunder was the whirlwind, the lightning lightened up the world, and the earth trembled and shook. So that's the idea. ורבנן אמרי, the sages said, ענני דשפכי מאיה להדדי, שנאמר לכל תיתו המון מים בשמיים. They said that the sages hold that thunder is a sound of cloud pouring water into one another. They bring a source from Jeremiah and the sound of his giving a multitude of water in the heaven. Another explanation, Rabbi בר יעקב אמר, בירקה תקיפה דבריק בעננה מטבר גזיזי דפרזה. Rabbi בר יעקב said that the thunder is caused by a very strong lightning bolt that strike a cloud and shatter a piece of hail. Unfortunately, you can see it sometimes. רב אשי אמר, אלני חילחו למיכלכלי ואת הזיקה ומנשב אפו מאיו ודמה כזיכרה על פום דני. It's like you have a very strong wheel that clouds are hollow, and when the wind comes and blow across the mouth, it sounds like which blowing in the mouth of jar. And the Gemarah concluded and said, Mistabra kervacha bar Yaakov, devar igbar kaomna me'ananei v'ate mitra. And the Gemarah concludes that it stands in reason according to opinion of Rabbi bar Yaakov. As lightning flashes, the cloud rumble, and the rain comes. So he said, ve'al haruchot. The Mishnah said that also, and on the wind, you need to say this bracha. So he said, my ruchot, what's the wind? Amar Abaye za'afa. Abaye said that it's a gale force wind. So, ואמר אביי גמירי דזעפה בליליה לא חזי כחזינא דהווה ההוא דהתחו ביממה. So Abaye said we learned through our tradition that there is no gale force wind at night. So the Gemarah asks, don't we see that there are gale force winds at night? So the Gemarah answers, the gale force wind that blows at night, it's not begin blowing at night, it's begin blowing during the day. And Abaye said we learn again to the tradition that the gale force wind does not last 2 hours. To fulfill what it states, גבירה דזעפה שטרי אישה אלוקה, כמו שנאמר לו, תקום פעמיים ביום צרה. Misfortune will not arise twice. So the Gemarah asks, "Va'ad chazina dekai," but we see that it's endured 2 hours. So he said, "A mafsik beina beina," that it stopped in between. So it's important comment here because the Tosefta here comment, ירושלמי מתנינים כשבאים בזעם, אבל שבאים בנחת אומר ברוך מעשה מעשה בראשית. So the Tosefta here coming from the Yerushalmi, and he said that it's all when it's coming tremendous force, right? Like we explain the gale force wind. But if it's come peacefully, the Tosefta hold that he should say Ose Maaseh Bereshis, like the other bracha. ועל הברקים אומר ברוך שכוחו וגבורתו מלא עולם. And over lightning you recite again the blessing with strength and power fill the world. מהי ברקים? What is ברקים? אמר רבא ברכה. ברכה is like lightning. That the Maharsha hold that even one lightning, it's already a reason to say the bracha. Sometimes you look up, you see one of them, it's enough. ואמר רבא, and Rava add, and he said, ברכה יחידה או ברכה חיוור או ברכה ירוקה, ואנה דסלקה מקרב ערבית ואתן מקרב דרומי, דסלקה אחד על הפר חבר, דלקו לו קשיין. So he said that the Rava said that the bright light, the single bolt of lightning, while lightning green lightning clouds start to rise in the western corner and come to the southern corner, and the two clouds that rise with one facing the other are all sign of what? Of trouble. Lemay nafkamina. So what's the purpose of all of that? Limi veirachamei. Hashem does all of that, so we open our heart and ask Hashem for compassion and mercy, that we beg Hashem that should not be any harm. All of that apply only if it's at night, but if it's during the day, there is the insignificant, there is no substance. אומר רב שמואל בר רבי יצחק, הענן עד צפרא לדבו משאשא דכתיב וחסדכם כענן בוקר. Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak said, these morning clouds of no real substance, they cannot be relied upon to produce rain. Why? Because it said v'chazdechem ke'anan boker. They said in Hosea, for you goodness is a morning cloud and the dew that early passes. אמר לרב פאפא לאביי אחד האמרין שכד מפתח בבי מיטרא בת חמרה מוסק חכר וגני. So he said, Rav Papa said to Abaye, but don't people say what they said, if there is a rain, when people open the door in the morning, donkey driver fold the sack and go to sleep, as rain will continue to fall all day. So morning clouds, like, it's a give indication that there will be rain all day. So the Gemarah responds and it said, Lo kasha diktar be'iva diktar ba'anan. It's not difficult, because as this suggests that there will be considerable rain when the sky is covered with the thick cloud. With this opinion, when Shmuel bar Yitzchak said that the morning cloud is no substance and will produce no rain, that's referred to a case where the sky is covered with flimsy clouds, which will certainly pass. And now the key, and that's, now you're going to study not just the Gemarah, but you see something that we call emunah, faith. How? Omar Rabbi Alexander, Omar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, לא נבראו רמים אלא לפשוט עקמומית שבלב, שנאמר והאלוקים עשה שירו מלפניו. The reason that Hashem create a thunder is to impose fear and strengthen the crookedness of the heart, because they said in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 4, and God has so made it that man should fear before him. So the purpose of that is to open the heart. You see this lightning, you see this thunder, you see this different phenomena. So this causes you to open your heart. ואומר רבי אלכסנדר, אומר רבי יהושע בן לוי, הרואה את הקשת בענן צריך שיפול על פניו, שנאמר כמראה הקשת אשר יהיה בענן וירא ויפול על פניי. He said if someone see the rainbow, So in a cloud that must fall upon his face, because they said in the book of Ezekiel, when he saw the cloud in the day of rain, so he fall on his face. So one of the things they said in the time of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai in the Gemarah, that it was one of the miracles, that one of the greatness of him, it wasn't a rainbow. But here Ezekiel said that when he see it, he fall on his face. Why? Because we just explained that the reason for all of these natural phenomena is to wake up our heart to do teshuvah. Our heart, the world heart. So they in the West, in Eretz Israel, they condemn this practice. Mishum demechzei keman desagi lekishta. A lot of things in Judaism, the rabbis disagree when it appears some type of idol worshiping. So this guy, you see that he bowed down to the like a rainbow, even he doesn't mean that, but it's appeared like that, so they are angry. Aval baruch vadai mevarech. However, one should for sure say the blessing when you see the rainbow. Mai mevarech baruch zocher habrit. So what's the blessing? So we said after the world has a great flood, so we have this great rainbow, which is a brit, is a covenant that between Noah and his future generation, that there will not be any more flood. So they said that's the bracha. A person should say Baruch, bless you, remember the covenant with Noah. So that's the covenant that we talk here. במתנית התנא רבי ישמעאל בנו של רבי יוחנן בן ברוקה אומר, נאמן דבריתו וקיים אמרו. אמר רב פאפא אל כך נאמרי לתרווי וברכות זוכר הברית ונאמר דבריתו וקיים אמרו. Another Brighton and Rabbi Ishmael, they said that the blessing, God who fulfill his covenant, fulfill his word. So Rav Papa said, and that's by the way the halacha, we learn later, that the person should say both. He said the beginning, remember covenant, fulfill his words, which is combination of both. Both meaning the first Tana and also Rabbi Ishmael, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. So Rav Papa combined both of them. Next, על הערים ועל הגבעות, on the mountain and the hills, and the sea and the river and the desert. So he said, blessed are you God, Master of the universe, who makes the work of creation. So the Gemarah asks, Atu kolan adam ran, ad ashta lama v'se bereshit ninu. So they said, is that to say that all those who are mentioned until now, which is lightning, are not act of creation? Why you said now and a creation? Ve'aktiv brakim lamatar asa. But it's written in the book of Psalms 135 that God make lightning for the rain. Omar Abaye kroch vetani. That's very famous comment in the Talmud. You see this statement, which is combine the two statements and teach together. So Abaye said combine both statements and teach that in all the cases in our Mishnah, one should recite the two blessings, which is Baruch shekocho maleh olam ve'oseh ma'aseh bereshit. One that God power over the whole world, and the other one, God is the author of creation. Hacha oseh ma'aseh bereshit ika shekocho maleh olam leika. Here, however, over mountains and hills, one recite the blessing, author of creation, but he need not to recite whose power fills the world. Okay? Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, you know that there's a lot of Berachot from him. He was in the world to come. It was almost in level of Malach, very high. Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Haro'eh rakia betahorata. Omer Baruch Oseh Maaseh Bereshit. One who see a very clear, firmament, like pure sky, you maybe say. It's a very clear. So what did he say? Blessed are you, God, Master of the universe, who is what? The author of creation. So he said, Ematai. The Gemarah said, when it's really considering that you see the firmament with its purity, ki ata mitral kulelelia, uvesafra ata istena megalelu leshmaya. Abaya answered and he said, when you see the rain was all night, and the morning the northern wind blows, so it's like exposing the heaven. So that's the proper time. Uflige, so now the Gemarah add to that and it said, Uplige, the Rav Param Bar Papa Omar Rav Chizda. Remember that's one of the sons of Bar Papa we mentioned at the Siyum. So it's a dispute in the view between Rav Param Bar Papa in the name of Rav Chizda. The Omar Rav Bar Papa Omar Rav Chizda, מיום שחרב בית המקדש לא נראה רקיע בטהרתה. שנאמר על בי שמיים כדרות ושק אשים כסותם. So he said from the time of destruction of Beit HaMikdash, of the temple, the firmament has not been seen in purity. Which means you see, but it's not pure. Because they said in Isaiah chapter 50, he said, I clothe the heaven in blackness and make the scarlet their garments or their covering. Which means that it wasn't up to this point. In other words, it's a big change took place since the Beit HaMikdash destroyed. It's like the entire world is in a huge change. So now 59 Amud Bet, the second part. Some order of introduction. We have the Birkat HaChamah every once in 28 years. And we have the sun in the cycle, which means that according to the approximate calculation of the solar year, it's basically we have a year of depend how you count, but it's basically 365 days with 6 hours, depend how you count. But basically, if you count all those years and you put together the numbers and you put those Saturn and other of the stars together, so it's called Chama B'Tkufata. So Tanu Rabbanon, the sages told, Haweh Chama B'Tkufata Levana B'Gvurota Uvchu V'Chochamim Slatam Mazot Kisra Baruch Hu Semase Bereshit. One who see the suns in the beginning of its cycle, and the noon it's in might, which means some explain that this refers to the end of the month when the moon is located opposite Aries, which is the other way, which is considered the beginning of zodiac cycle. Similarly, the rest of the stars are located in a position one recited the blessing over the beginning of this cycle. And the planets in its orbit, or the sun of the zodiac aligned in the order, so he should recite Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, the author of creation. Okay, that's by the way halacha. We learn later the practical halacha. Ve'eimat Havei. So the Gemarah asks when it's really the time that the sun is beginning of its cycle. Remind our friend the physicist, Dr. Friedman, that there's materials for him here. He missed the shiur of today, right? It's stuff that he most probably will like. Omar Abaye kol 28 shanim. Abaye said that the cycle is complete and returned to its genesis, and all this time it's every 28 years. V'hada machzor v'naflat kufat nisan b'shabtai be'orta ditlat nagei arba. So he said that the way that it goes is every 28 years when the cycle is complete and returned to its genesis, and the Nisan, vernal, and all the equinox, when the spring days and night are of equal length, falls within the constellation of the Saturn on the night and the third eve of the fourth day of the week, as then the arrangement returned to be as it was when the constellation were first placed in the heaven. So basically, you see nowadays, if you're merited, Baruch Hashem, I'm merited to do it twice in my life, to have this Birkat HaChama. Remember we did it not long ago. Okay. רבי יהודה אומר, הורה את הים הגדול, אומר ברוך שעשה את הים הגדול בזמן שראה אותו לפרקים. So we learn in the Mishnah, Rabbi Dr said that one who sees the great sea, but not always. It's like intermittently, which means sometimes. So we recite, blessed God who made the great sea. So the Gemarah asked, לפרוקים עד כמה? So the Gemarah asked, how much is called intermediately, which means how often you need to go if you're flying to the Middle East constantly. אמר רבי בר אבא, אמר רבי יצחק עד 30 יום. Which means if you are one of those guys that I know someone like that leaving Israel every Sunday and coming back there on Thursday night, Friday. I know relatively many people in France and Belgium that does that every week. But there are those who do it also in America. They're flying a lot. I know a guy who goes to South Africa several times every month, right? Oui. So they said that someone who passed this great sea once in 30 days, we should make the bracha. Baruch she'asa et hayam hagadol. That's called lifrakim. Sometimes, right? ואומר רמי בר אבא, אומר רבי יצחק, הרואה פרט הגישרא דבבל, אומר ברוך עושה מעשה וראשית. And Rami bar Abba said in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak, one who sees the Euphrates river near the bridge of Babylon, so he said, Baruch, blessed you God, Master of the universe, the author of creation. So Gemarah said, Ve'aidna deshanyua parsai. Now, and the Persian have rewrote the course of the river. So they said the whole idea is that the Persian it's a rerouter that so therefore one does not recite the Bosem Berachot when you see the river, because it's rerouted by the people, right, by the man. That's, by the way, the halacha. So they said Mibei Shavor Leil. So it's like from the Beit Shavor and up river. Rav Yosef Amar Meir Dekira Uleil. So they say that the down river it's no longer flows. It was originally creation. So this is no need to say the Osem Asa Berachit, the author of creation, because people, man, changed the river. ואומר רמי בר אבא רואה דגלת הגישרא דשביסנה, אומר ברוך עושה מעשה וראשית. So here Rami bar Abba said that one who sees the Tigris on the bridge of the place called Shabisna, it's Persia. So he saw it again, Oseh Maaseh Berachit, my Chidekel. You know that the Gemarah tells us, the Torah tells us that it was 4 rivers that is in the Garden of Eden, and right. So Chidekel, it's called Tigris. So what's the source of the name Chidekel, the Tigris? Amar Rav Ashi shememav chadin vekalim. In Hebrew, the word chidekel is comprised 2 words, chad and kal. It's like acronym that derive from the fact that the water are sharp, which is chadin, and light, kalin. So there is a good for drinking. My prat, again, that's in the Torah, said also what's the source of the name Prat, which is Euphrates. Shemeimav parim verabim, because its water are fruitful and multiply. Fruitful is parim, and multiply is ravim, which means that there are what? Many fish in it. Okay? ואמר רבא, היי דחריף בני מחוזה משום דשתו מיה דדגלת. So he said about the Tigris river, he said the people who live in the city of Mechoza are sharp, the smart people, because, you know, like those advertisements in the Whole Food, drink this type of drinking and makes you either smart or healthy or maybe solve any constipation issues, right? So here they tells us that people are smart because they drink the water of Tigris. Hai de gichori mishum de meshamshei b'imama. They are red because they engage in relations in daytime, so it's effective. V'hai de nai de enayu mishum de dairu b'bayit afer. You see the eye moving from one place to another constantly because they live in a very dark houses. Al Agshamim. So the Mishnah said that Al Agshamim, what we said? We said Baruch Atov HaMeitim. It says good and does good. So the Gemarah asks, V'al Agshamim Atov HaMeitim Mevarech. Over the rain, does really one need to say the bracha, good and it's good? ואמר רבי אבאו ואמר לה במתנית התנא, מתי מברכים על הגשמים שיצא חתן לקראת כלה? So he said, when he said the blessing of the rain, from the groom went to meet the bride. In other words, there are a puddler of water on the ground, and the groom, meaning the rain drop from above, caused the bride, meaning the water below, to splash. So there is the time that you have to make birkas agsham. So he said, Matai mevarchim al agshamim, that's what the men, that when the bride see the groom, which means from the heaven kiss the earth, when you have the rain coming down and touch the earth, and it's a combination from both, then you say the bracha. Mayim mevarchim. What type of blessing one should recite? We thank God for each and every drop. Because think about people who die from thirst. We said in Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, mi b'mayim, mi ba'esh. Some people die from lack of water, some people overflow. But if you read, for example, the story of Yerushalayim, the holy city of Jerusalem during World War I, people die from thirst. You know, when Eretz Israel is no water, it's crisis. So that we should thank God for every drop that fell us. ורבי יוחנן מסיים באחי, אפילו פינו מלא שיר הקיים, אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך השם אלוקינו, תשתחווה ברוך אתה השם רוב ההודעות. So that's part of Nishmat that we said, that he said even our mouth is filled of like the song of the sea. We could not sufficiently praise you, O Lord, you God, and we continue with the formula of the Nishmat that we recite in Shabbat morning until shall bow before you, blessed are you, O Lord, whose abundant thanksgiving are offered. I know people in Yerushalayim that goes on Thursday, every Thursday night at the midnight at the Kotel, at the Wailing Wall, and said for a long time Nishmas, you know, every single word with Kavanah. They believe that it's a sgula for a lot of Yeshuot, for a lot of needs, to say Nishmas, especially at midnight. I always try to say that when we said Nishmat, we should say it slowly, like in Passover Agada on Shabbos morning, because it's carry so many messages of emunah and bitachon, of faith and trust in Hashem. So they ask a question, Rov ha'odot velo kol ha'odot, this is a different nusach. We should thank God for abundant thanksgiving and not all thanksgiving. Omar Rava eima hakel ha'odot. So since we need to do thanksgiving to Hashem, so Rava said, he meant the formula of the blessing and said, the God of thanksgiving. Omar Rav Papa. So therefore Rav Papa said, Hilkach nemerin uletravayu rov ha'odot ve'akel ha'odot. Therefore we should recite both abundant thanksgiving and the God of thanksgiving. So basically there are several explanations offered for this Rava statement. So the Meiri said that they intended to combine the formula of Rabbi Yonatan blessing with the formula of Rabbah blessing. So it's also not only a combination; it's a deep thanking for both. That God is basically all. In the book of Kabbalah and Chassidut, they're explaining that there are two expressions of God. One is called Memale Kol Almin, and one is called Sovev Kol Almin. The Tanya elaborate on that a lot. The concept is that there is a concept of God that is like, in our simple language, is like transcendental, which is like God around the world. And there is another concept of God that is a molecular mean, which is a living God. He's not just God that watching over as a creator who create the creations, but God that who's in our dining room and watch every little deed. So that's it's both different attribute of Hashem in different ways. So that's part of Rov Daut v'Akel Daut that's applied to different Ve'el Akashya. So it's still difficult because apparently the blessing for the rain is not who is good and does good. And by the way, we don't have time, but Tosefta elaborate on that a lot. So he said here, Lo Kashya, it's not difficult. This which we learn now, Mishnah, that one recited who is good and do good, refer to what? Hadishma Mishma. Hadechaza Mecheze. Which means the one that is good and does good refer to a case when one heard that the rain fell. So this, where we learn that one recite, we thank you, etc., refer to a case when one really saw the rain fell. So imagine, just to make it clear, imagine if you live in a place that they really struggle for rain. Imagine if you, God forbid, if you are in the land or property, or even in Eretz Israel, there are certain years that they struggle. So imagine they pray, eventually they get the rain. So for sure you need to make a special bracha for that, because this is something that, you know, bring a tremendous blessing. Without that, there's they hold the crops and all the agriculture is depend on Hashem's.
Well, that's why they do Bahab also, the series of fasting.
But that's the Mishnah in Tanit and Gemarah in Tanit. They say that is a procedure. It's a good point. There's a procedure in Eretz Israel. If unfortunately they wait certain time and there's no rains, then they need to start daven, and they, if it's continued, they have to make it public, and they reach a point that even they need to go out and etc. So this is a serious things. They desperately need the rain. Dishma mashma. היינו בשורות טובות, ותנן על בשורות טובות אומר ברוך אתה והמיטיב. The Gemarah asks, one who heard the rain fell, that is the case of a good tiding. So we learn in the Mishnah that upon hearing good tiding, one should recite Baruch Ata v'Mitiv. Right? So why we mention rain separately? So the answer is Amidah v'idi dechazemech ze v'lo kasha adadat aputa adadat atuva. So it's not question, because so one is referred to a case that is a little rain fell. So as little rain fell, it's good, but it's, you know, in a sense like the story of Chanina ben Dosa, it wasn't sufficient. And the other one, when it's a lot of rain fell. V'lo kashya, hadeit le'ara, delat le'ara. And if you wish, you can say instead that this referred to a case that is a lot of rain fell, but it's not difficult. Why? Because the Mishnah referred to a case when one owns land. Well, that Rabbi Abahu's statement is you should say thank you. Refer to a case when one does not own land, so the rain does not benefit him directly, but still has the obligation. So the Gemarah asks, "It le'ar'a tova mitiv mevarech." One who has the land, he needs to recite a tova mitiv. והתנענו ולמדנו וסטדי למשנה בנה בית חדש וקנה כלים חדשים אומר ברוך שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Someone who bought a new house or purchased a new Lamborghini, so you need to say ברוך שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Bless you, you're giving us life and brought us to this time, right? You dream about the Porsche of your life, you have it, so you have to be thankful, right? Shelo v'shel acherim. However, if the land belonged to him or others in partnership, so he said, Atov ha'meitiv, God is the good. Why? Rain falling into a land that one owns exclusively. So he said, giving life, and not good and does good. So how come? So he said, Lo kashya. Why one time you said this pleasing, the other not? So it's not a question. Why? Had the idlet shoot food, had the late shoot food. This is when he has a partner, this is independently, no partner. So the Gemarah said, and elsewhere they said, Kdeira de veshutfei lo chamimei velo karire. when you have two partners and they're selling something in the markets, they have the kdera, they have their own, what do you call it, booth, their own, the table, right? Like in a shuk, they have, each one have his own basta, his own, right? So they said if it's two partners, it's never too hot and never too cold. Because you have two Jews and 5 opinions, so it's everyone running to his own way. So when you have a partners, it's not simple. והתניא, הקצרו של דבר, על שלו הוא אומר ברוך שהחיינו וקימנו, על שלו ושל חברו הוא אומר ברוך הטוב והמיטיב, if he's owning it, so you say שהחיינו, but he is a partner, said ברוך הטוב והמיטיב, who is good and does good. So when you're buying a new boat and you have a partner, right, especially expensive boat, right, Dave? So you have to say הטוב והמיטיב, but if you buy your own boat, you say שהחיינו.
There you go.
וכל אחד אלת לאחרין הבעדי, לא מברך הטוב והמיטיב. So the Gemarah challenged this principle, and they said in every case where others are not with him, one does not recite הטוב והמיטיב. והתניא אמרו לילדה אשתו זכר. If they said to someone, you have a baby boy, אומר ברוך הטוב והמיטיב. Right? So if your wife bring a male, so if one's wife give birth to a son, so you need to say Tova Meitiv, right? So they said Hatam Nami Dika Ishto Baded Nichale Bezachar. So there too, his wife is with him, and she is also happy that a male child was born. Tashma. So the Gemarah challenged further. Met Avivu Yosho. בתחילה אומר ברוך דיין אמת, ובסוף אומר ברוך הטוב והמיטיב. What happened? His father passed away, left him a lot of money, a lot of properties. So at the beginning when his father died, right? So he said, Baruch De'an HaEmes, blessed are you, God, who is a true judge. Right? But when you're receiving the inheritance, now he turned around and he said, Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv, God good and does good. Which means, despite the fact that the son alone is a benefit, nevertheless, he recite the Tov HaMeitiv. Hatam Nami, Deika Ache Dekayarte Badei. So therefore is a case that there are two brothers' inheritance. So it's that 2 hours inheritance, different stories. No Shechianu is a Tov HaMeitiv. Tashma, additional challenge. Shinui Yain. Again, it's a contradiction. If a case of change in a type of wine, which means that during the meal, some people have a white wine, some people have a different type of wine, different taste, red, dry, etc. Eino tzarich levarech. So you don't need to make a blessing, create the fruit for the vine. Second time, right? So if you have a meal, and they serve you with white wine, and then they bring you a dry red wine, so you don't need to make a separate bracha, right? ואומר רבי יוסף ברבא אמר רבי יוחנן, אף על פי שאמרו שינוי יין, אינו צריך לברך, אבל אומר ברוך הטוב והמיטיב. Imagine, you bring you a bottle of wine that was saved for 40 years, very delicious taste, expensive wine, and you ate so far just simple, whatever it is, one of those, I don't want to mention name, I don't want to get in trouble, so all the companies that selling cheap wine, so you drank that wine, and then you get this fancy, expensive wine. So they said, Shinu yain, you don't need to make a bracha, but Baruch HaTov HaMeitiv, God is good, you should make a bracha. So how come? The Gemarah answered and said, Hatam Nami, there too is referred to a case that is not alone. The Ika Bnei Chavura, the Shatu Bahade, that is a member of the groups are drinking with him. So because they drink of him, that is a different situation, You talk with people who get used to drinking, I'm not, Baruch Hashem, but the people involved, they know that it's a different atmosphere, different feelings when there's a group of people drinking together. Bana Bait Chadash, V'kana Achelim Chadashim, in one build a new house and purchase a new vessels. So what we said? We said the same thing, Shechianu, give us life, sustain us, brought us to this time. Omar Avuna, לא שנו אלא שאין לו כיוצא בהן, אבל יש לו כיוצא בהן, לא צריך לברך. Rabbi said only it's apply when you not have already something similar, something that they inherited, etc. But if you have already something similar, so you don't need to make a blessing because it's not new to you. Excuse me. So if you have, for example, 3 Mercedes, you get another one. What's the difference? Right? Rabbi Yochanan Amar, someone inherited for his father, 3 Porsche. You get another Porsche. The dealer, his friend dealership, give him another Porsche. It's really a big deal. You get used to that. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, afilu yesh lo kayotze b'hem tzarich levarech. Rabbi Yochanan said that even one who's already has something similar that he inherited, he must recite the blessing because he never before purchased a vessel of that kind. Gvurot Hashem Bateva, several halachot we're going to study. So first is a special section. If you see, for example, in the Art School Sidurim, you have after Shachris the list of Berachot. So some of them it's called Berachot that is practical for the God's mighty nature. So they said here in Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim Reish Kav Zayin 227, Al Ridat Adama Zvaot, over the earthquake, which calls Zvaot, Re'amim, thunder, Ruchot Azot, strong winds, Uvrakim, and lightning, Omer Shekocho Gvurato Maleh Olam. One should say, with strength and power, fill the world. Ve'im Ratza, Mevarech Oseh Maaseh Bereshit. But if one chooses, he may instead recite the author of creation. Ve'aminag, Magen Avram said that the Aminag, that's Mishnah also mentioned in the, and the Rambam said in Berakhot Berachot, chapter 10, he said, Aminag shedevarech al re'achmim shkocho gvurato al brakim maaseh bereshit. The minhag is that that strength and power over thunder, you said that kocho gvurato maleh olam, and brakim, when you see lightning, so you said oseh maaseh bereshit. So for example, if you see one of them, you should make sure that you said properly. See boom 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 or that, so that's shekocho. If you see just lightning, even a small lightning, as we explained in the Sugya earlier, so you should already said Oseh Maaseh Bereshit. Now the next one is Birkat HaKeshet. So Shulchan Aruch Reish Kaftet said, Harore Keshet, if one see the rainbow, so blessing of the rainbow, each time you see a rainbow in a cloud, and basically the Magen Avram said, even you see it in multiple times, you should say, Zocher HaBrit v'ne'emar Brito k'divrei Rav Papa. You should say that God remember His covenant, is faithful, and the two said that that's basically the following, the Rambam too, they said the opinion of Rav Papa. Al ha'arim ve'al ha'gvaot, over the mountain and the hills. So the Rambam add to that and he said, Hagboltim betzuratam, which means you're talking about something that is really conceptually, conspicuously, shaped, which means something that is a very, very high or very rare. You go to a great canyon, you go to places that it's a special shape of mountain and hills. So then, Mevarech Oseh Maaseh Bereshit, you said, thank you God, who author of the creation. Haroeh Chama b'tkufata. So if the Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim Reish Kaftet said that if one see the sun in its cycle, so that's occurred every 28 years. כשתקופת ניסן היא אור ליום רביעי שוב מזל שבתאי. So he said when the season of the Nisan spring is in the constellation of the Saturn on the eve of the 4th day of the week, so then you should say the blessing Oseh Maaseh Bereshit. That's the Rif said. And Mevarchim in Hanetzach Hamad, the proper way the Rif tells us, it's when you see it in the sunrise. And then he said, if one failed to do it at the sunrise, so the Rambam hold that you can recite the blessing until the hours of the days have passed. Some say that because you're making God name and His sovereignty, so at latest noon is still acceptable. And then they said, נערות ששינו מההלכה, what happened if you see a river that it changed by people? It was a great river, and that suddenly people changed it. So they said, אין מברכים על עושה מעשה בראשית על נערות מן המקום ששינו בני אדם את אפיקם. So שולחן ערוך ריש כ"ח 228 said that if it was changed by people, so it's no longer a long river that made by Hashem, it's in a sense people change it, so then it's a different story. They said, it's called the Amidah de Shanina Parsai, that now the Persian have rerouted. So one did not recite the author of creation when seeing rivers were being rerouted by people. So that's the Rambam. Rambam said in Hilchot Berachot chapter 10, Haroeh Gshami. So if someone, it was a tremendous drought and it was a great poverty, lack of water, so then the rain comes. So said modim anachnu lach וכולי, ומסיים בכל רוב ההודעות כדברי רב פאפה. So if a drought is afflicting the community at large and the rain falls, so one recite the blessing despite the fact that the rain was not sufficient to be considered a significant rainfall. That's Ravaya. So one does not recite the blessing unless it rains enough that the drop falling can cause the puddlers on the ground to bubble. That's a important halacha. Next one is Matai Mevarchim She'echiyanu. So when is the proper time to say She'echiyanu? So they said, על שמועה טובה נוגעת רק לו, מברך שהחיינו. שולחן ערוך ריש כ"ב 222, he said, if one hears from a reliable source, that's the Magen Avraham hold, good things that benefit him alone, so he said the bracha of שהחיינו. ואם היו שלו שותפים בטובה, but if there are partners involved, so then what he said, no, help me. Okay. If you have partners, he said, Atov ve'ameiti. Again, by yourself, Shechiyanu. Partners, Atov ve'ameiti. Halacha lemaise. Next. Mi shenolad lo ben, mevarchimu ve'ishto Atov ve'ameiti. B'reish kavbet. If someone have a son, so both he and his wife recite Atov ve'ameiti. Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 223. Met aviv ve'yorsho. Mevarech shtei brachot. If someone, his father passed, but also he inherited from his father, so when he, upon passing, he said, Dayan ha'emes, blessed are you God who is a true judge, v'alai rusha, but for the inheritance, im haya yoresh yachid, if he is the only one who has the Yerusha, so he needs to say, Shechiyanu. Ve'im hayu yoshim acherim, but if he's partner with others like brothers, so you need to say Hatov ve'ameiti. So again, Dayan ha'emes anyway. But the difference is, again, the same rules. If you are alone, it's Shechiyanu. If you do it with brothers who are with partners, it's Hatov ve'ameiti. Next halacha. Shinui makon. So, what happened is, if at the middle of the meal, you change location. Shina mekomo be'emtza arucha. That's Shulchan Aruch, Kuf Ayin Chet, 178. But it's also according to the Rambam. He said, if someone began eating in one house, stopped at the middle of the meal, and went to another house, so they said, צריך לברך ברכה אחרונה על מה שאכל במקומו ולחזור לברך ברכה ראשונה. Which means, even he plans to return to the first house immediately and not linger in the second house at all, he is obligated to recite the Birkat Hamazon, the grace after meals, before he leaves. Recite a new blessing when he returns to continue his meal, and then recite grace after meal. That's the Shulchan Aruch based on the Rambam. ויש אומרים, and there are others who say, שאם נשארו מקצת סועדים במקומם, that if there are others who eat the dinners remained in their seats, או שהוא דבר הצריך ברכה אחרונה, or they say, so he need not to recite the blessing to continue his meal, that's the Rema, based on this Tosefta. אינו צריך לחזור ולברך. He doesn't need to say it again. והאשכנזים נהגו כדעה הזאת, so the Ashkenaz custom that the Shulchan Aruch Harav said, and the Mishnah Berurah also said it, that the Ashkenazim hold that custom. So trace a scenario, you come here, Shabbos, you eat the Kiddush, then you're planning to eat a meal at home. So what do you have to do? And then let's say you're planning to come back for Shalishudah, so you're planning to come back, whatever the reason, come back. The minute you finish the meal, you have to make a blessing after the meal. Next, Shinu Yain, if you change in wine. So Shulchan Aruch Kuf Ayin Hey 175 said, if you change in wine over a new type of wine, על סוג יאיר חדש שהביאו בשעת סעודה מברכים הטוב והמעיטים ויהיו אחרים מסובים שם, אך אין צורך ברכה ראשונה. So over a new type of wine that was served during the meal, one recite הטוב והמעיטים, good and good, but there is no need to repeat who create fruit from the vine. So, but you still need to say last halacha for today, בנה בית חדש וקנה כלים חדשים. על בית חדש ריש כ"ג 223 the Shulchan Aruch said, או כלים חדשים מברך שהחיינו. One who build or purchase, the Mishnah Berurah said, a new house or new vessels or clothing, the Magen Avraham said for himself, even if he had already purchased or inherited similar vessels in that past, if the vessel has caused people joy, everyone in according to his standings in society, that's the Mishnah Berurah, he said that Shechiyanu.
Well, for the Kalim, don't you also have to dip them in the mikvah and make a special
Yeah, but that's different. Here we talk about the blessing of Shechiyanu. So that's the halacha, that you have to make a bracha for Shechiyanu. But again, nowadays, if you buy, for example, just a simple tie or shirt, so that's not applicable. But we're talking about something that is really special and new and bring a great honor.